Today is August 13th, and you're listening to the Beer Temple Podcast.
Remember, this is what we wanted. Remember, this is what we said. To never be heard or seen from again. Remember, this is what we wanted. Remember, this is what we said. To never be heard or seen from again.
Hello, and welcome to the Beer Temple Podcast. I'm your co-host, Mike Schallau from Is Was Brewing, and I'm here with your other co-host, Chris Quinn from the Beer Temple. Chris,
what's up?
How you doing?
We out here.
It's your boys.
Back in
Studio BT.
Studio BT.
Home game for you.
Yep, home game. We did a home and home.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel comfortable. I can be myself again.
Yeah,
I was a little too uptight.
You're really buttoned up. Also, my dad was just sitting at the table with us, not on mic.
Yeah.
Did we mention that? I don't even remember.
I don't know.
He was just hanging out.
He cracked a soda one time, and I listened back to it.
Yeah.
And when I was doing some editing for it, and it was the loudest. Like, we've had people literally try to be like kind of cheeky and do it. Like Josh Noel famously would do it. He would do it like right under the mic and
morning
go,
Zoom beer radio.
Yeah. And your father was 5 feet away and opened up a can of soda, and it was like it was the loudest.
It's that sound
ever.
dampening we put up.
Exactly.
It really worked.
So, but now I'm feeling comfortable. I'm here. We got some gamers in the middle room, so I'm feeling like we're back,
baby.
Back to normal. Yeah,
Better than ever.
Better than ever. Yeah, so it's just you and I again.
Just the two of us.
Just the two of us. And
building castles in the sky.
Yes. But we've got a few things lined up for the show. But before I wanted to, before we get into what that stuff's going to be, well, we're going to do some guessing games. We're going to do some letters. We're going to do some talk of the town, as the New Yorker would call it. But maybe we talk of the beer town being the entire industry. And also including RTDs and non-alc as well. Mm-hmm. You know, the town. But I wanted to get an update on your on Studio iDub. And I know you get your big grand opening.
The grand opening was probably 2 days ago, if you're listening to this at our normal pace of putting shows up.
Yes, the 17th.
Saturday, it was Saturday the 17th. It went amazing, probably. No,
yeah.
We got some merch in today we hadn't made merch in a long time.
You got Michael Jordan.
We got Michael Jordan's coming.
Simone Biles.
We're working on Rod Blagojevich.
Okay.
Who's in a band now.
He's going to run by, I thought.
He is probably going to run by. He does run by the front of the brewery often. And he's waved back a couple times now. So
cool.
He's in a band now, so we might book his band. We will have live music from a couple jazz musicians. Mm-hmm. The Harold's Fried Chicken truck will be there. Drink some Saison, eat some fried chicken.
Cool.
Sounds like a pretty good pairing.
Cool.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time.
Cool. Yeah, I've been there a few times. It's been good. I haven't been able to get there too much, but I've been hearing good things, and I've been keeping an eye on how things are going via Untapped, just seeing people kind of check in.
Yep. And
you didn't say that you were going to be featuring one of the new serving styles from Untapped at the new Was. And I'm not actually two of the new ones. Or are you doing all three? Are you doing all three?
We aren't doing all three.
Okay. Are you doing tank pours?
We're not doing tank pours.
Okay. You have a side pull.
We have a side pull.
Okay. And you have a slushie.
Well, we don't have a slushie machine.
Well, people are checking in to your beers on Slushie.
I mean, you can't control what people are doing on Untapped.
Well, all I know is that it seems that there may be a Slushie machine somewhere. Apparently, it's not at the bar, but it's somewhere in there. And
It's definitely not at the bar.
no, it's definitely not at the bar.
I mean,
can
we
attest
don't
to
have
that.
one
Right.
at the bar.
Right, exactly. So I think it's like, when you go to a Chinese restaurant and they have the off menu, is what I'm guessing.
It's probably
Clever.
Probably not like that at all. I just don't think it exists.
Right. Well, I don't know. It seems that some people are able to somehow get their beers slushified.
It would be
at
really
least
funny.
one of them. Blue-haired gal seems to be the one
Yeah.
that's on Slushie. So
Yep. I mean, no.
yes,
It,
gotcha.
it would be really funny if Ari, who had been talking about getting a slushie machine every day while we were opening, bought his own slushie machine and is doing it while I'm not there.
Right. Well, he may
Sets it
be
up on the bar.
because people are.
we definitely don't
And
have
hey,
that.
all the people who are there, who go there, if you get it on Slushie, you better be
can't get it
checking
on
it
Slushie.
in. But if someone were to, they would certainly want to check it in as being on a Slushie.
You got to check it in accurately.
Because it's an
but,
accurate slush. Yeah.
I can't. I
Confirmed
don't know
order.
why anyone would be doing that. But
Okay, doesn't see. I was surprised, but hey,
I'm very
I mean,
surprised.
it's funny once you open up once you open up your own tap room, compromises start getting made. You can't be an idealist anymore.
That's right.
You got to do what
You-
pays the bills.
you got to pay the bills.
And if the people want slushified blue-haired gal, I guess people apparently, if they ask enough, apparently you have to ask.
I mean,
You have to ask specifically, and you can't take no for an answer, apparently, because you have to ask multiple times, and then they will eventually slushify. I mean, I'm just going by the Untapped stuff. Listeners out there, listen, go look for yourself. Go look for yourself. I'm not making this stuff up. So
I think
anyway, the 17th, maybe we'll see it. Maybe it'll make its way. Maybe the VIPs. If you see VIPs with like the little dome lids or anything with the the spiral straws and stuff like that. So we'll see. I will try to be there, and I will try to get a slushie
good luck.
for sure. Yeah. Well, we'll see. If I get one, I will definitely report back here, or just put it
Or
on
put it on Untapped.
Sure. Yeah. There it is.
Oh Jesus!
There you go. Serge has already showed us definitive visual proof.
I guess that's the thumbnail for this week, huh?
Yeah, of the slushy version. So it does exist, and I'm going to make
Well,
that.
that picture exists, that's for sure.
Yes, that picture definitely exists. Okay. Wanted to get that out there. Is there anything else that we should be? Oh, there is something else we should be talking about. The awards, major
All the
awards.
ones we win.
Yeah. Listen, everyone out there, we are batting 1,000 when it comes to winning the awards. Every award that we apply for, we've won. Gold. First place.
Epic.
Okay?
We're the goats.
We've never not medaled, and we've never not come in first. Okay? So, that's coming again.
Can't do better than that.
Can't do better than that. Some would say retire, but no, that's not what we do.
That's not what we do.
You know?
You get back out on the
Once
the
every
court.
7, 8, 9 years, we apply again, see if we can do it. And
If we don't miss the deadline.
if we don't, which we still may miss the deadline. We've got 2 weeks. We may forget.
That's like nothing for us. That goes by.
Yeah, I still don't know exactly how to submit it. I have the email, but I haven't looked at what to do. But if it was like last time, and my memory from back then is
Perfect.
It could be completely different now that I think about it. But it was 3 episodes before, so we've gotten some suggestions on what episodes people like. The barrel aged stout one has gotten multiple recommendations that we submit that one. So it has to be from, I think, any time after June 1st, 2023. So it goes way back.
Yeah.
So if there's a show that you especially like, someone said any of the fantasy draft episodes. We're assuming that was a joke.
Why?
Because they're just Well, because we wanted to make it a competition. What if we did just 3 different drafts?
We did 3 drafts and then a bonus Smokey and the Bandit.
Exactly. Got disqualified because we submitted too many.
Yeah.
And
We had too many good options, so we did 3 different fantasy drafts, one of which one of the commissioners wasn't on.
and we had
he sent his robot in his
a
stead.
robot, the AI voice.
Yeah. And then an episode where you and I talk about how Smoking the Bandit is actually pretty progressive.
Yeah, exactly. So then, okay. So then, why don't you, out there, you being the people out there listening, if you have one that you like, let us know. Insiders@craftbeertemple.com. Let us know which episodes you liked. We've been talking about some. The barrel aged one seems to be popular. I kind of like the sour one.
Yeah, thought that one was great.
Yeah, I thought that was a good one.
People have liked the episode with Matt Brindleson.
Yep.
There are 2. We have to see which one that people have been talking about. He's been on twice.
Yes.
Good, big friend of the show.
Yeah.
Definitely knows who we are, remembers us,
Definitely remembers
responds
us.
to all our emails
Yes.
quickly.
Quickly. Definitely knows who we are when he sees us out of context in person.
Yep.
Definitely.
Definitely does that. Definitely does that.
Definitely doesn't lean over to his friend and ask who that is. Thinks I don't see him doing that.
Never did any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we love him, don't we, folks?
We got to.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, but we would like to hear from you guys because we don't feel like going back and listening to them all. So
We barely listen to them after we've done them.
yeah, I probably listen to maybe 1 or 2 episodes a year. I
Yeah,
think.
we already listened to them.
Yeah,
We
exactly.
did it while we were talking to each other.
Yes. Okay. So there is that out there. That was a little bit of housekeeping. What else you got before we get into beer guessing? What do you want to talk about? What are you dying to talk about, Mike?
Well, I mean, have we talked about any beer you've had recently that you like besides
Ooh.
dispensing methods that may or may not, probably don't exist?
I've had 2 beers lately that I have absolutely loved. One, I looked up at the. So I came in on Monday, and I saw that the Paulaner. Actually, no, I was here on Sunday, and I saw that the Paulaner Fest beer was on, not the Meritzen. They do both styles, and I was like, oh, it's kind of early, but let me try it. Holy cow, beer is amazing.
Awesome.
It's fine for the summer. It's light enough. I mean, dude, it's so much better. Like, you drink that beer, and then you're like, come on. We also have, like, Pivo on right now.
Yeah.
And it's like, and we have a bunch of other really good lagers on from reputable, hyped, dare I say, lager breweries. And there's just no chance that I would want to drink anything from any of them other than that Paulaner and then maybe a Pivo. So that one, way into. And then I had it, and then I looked up and was going to leave, and I saw that we had put back on the Scratch Chanterelle Bière de Garde on draft, and I was like, oh, my God.
Is that on right now?
Yeah, it just kicked. It kicked. I know. I went up to get one.
That's like a top 5 for me.
I know. So I had one of. I've had a couple of those on draft, and that beer is just
So good.
such a special, amazing, wonderful beer.
Yeah. Many things are unique. Fewer things are unique and, like, spectacular, you know?
Right.
And
Yeah.
that is both of them.
It is one of the best beers.
Yeah.
It's so good.
So cool. It, like, nothing else tastes like it, but it drinks like a beer. It's not some, like, gimmick.
Yeah.
And it is better for having chanterelle mushrooms in it.
For sure.
So it's
For sure.
you get this, like, crazy apricot-y, like, fruitiness from them that you wouldn't expect from a mushroom beer.
Yeah.
That's a special beer.
Yeah. Well, how about you?
Let's see. I've been drinking a lot of my own beer, obviously.
You have guest beers. You've been drinking all your guest beers that you're.
We made a.
Now
did
that
I talk about this last week? We made a collaboration with Goldfinger.
Yep. The land beer, right?
Yeah, and then I went to a White Sox game.
Somebody
yesterday.
asked us yesterday if we had that beer on, because we have a Goldfinger beer on.
Yeah.
We said, nope, you're going to have to leave our establishment and go to Iswas if you want that one.
Oh, that's interesting because I told Tom that you guys could have one if you wanted it. I guess you didn't want it.
No, we might have one. I don't even know. It's not on, though.
I went to a White Sox game yesterday, and they played the Yankees, who is the team that I have been rooting for since I was a small boy. And the White Sox are historically bad. May actually have the worst record ever in a single season this year.
Not for the White Sox, for any baseball team.
For any baseball team ever. And
it's a lot of teams.
A lot of teams.
That's a lot of teams.
A lot of seasons. This may be the worst team of all time, and they beat the Yankees 12-2.
Awesome.
And I wasn't stoked about that, but I did get to drink a Goldfinger OG at the baseball stadium. And it was tasting great.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that's also we have that on draft also at our tap room. And it tastes great there too, but contextually to have that beer at a baseball game is pretty fun.
Yes.
They have that cool little craft corner at Gate 5 when you come in.
That's cool that they, that's very cool. Awesome. So those are the beers we've had. What about...
I sent you an article. Do you want to talk about that?
Let's talk about that. I want to know what the pulse... People tune into this program. And by tune in, I mean most often download. But they may tune in.
Yeah.
To Lumpin' Radio. And...
WLPN.
Yep. 105.5. And they come here for their beer news. Mm-hmm. So we should probably give it to them, right? Okay, what's the big news in beer right now?
One thing that I saw that I thought was interesting, and it's not just beer actually, it's more like the alcohol industry at large, or the non-alcohol industry at large, is that one of the major...
The non-alcoholic industry, okay.
One of the major kind of players in the retail portion of the non-alcohol industry called Boyson? I don't even know how you pronounce it, but filed for bankruptcy. And they had a bunch of stores. They had a huge online presence for people that are into exploring non-alcoholic options. However, they are no longer in business. Their website is still up. I looked at it right now.
Were they a producer or a retailer?
They're a retailer, just a retailer. And carried non-alcoholic wines, non-alcoholic spirits, phony Negroni kind of stuff along with beer.
Online presence or brick and mortars as well?
They had both.
Okay.
And I guess they also did wholesale.
Wholesale. Okay.
Yeah, so it was just all things non-alcoholic. And meant to be a big hub that producers could send things to and sell them. They would sell them to consumer or get them to other retail outlets that needed them. But I don't know. It was interesting because you hear a lot about how much non-alcoholic beer is growing, and it's by the numbers, it's absolutely true. One of the top 50 craft breweries in the country right now is a non-alcoholic producer. But this brings up questions of is there going to be a kind of a culture of plurality around non-alcoholic consumption the same way there is around alcohol
and
consumption?
What do you mean by that culture of plurality?
There's 9,000 craft breweries. There's all sorts of different wine producers. There's more and more small batch bourbon producers and things like that. Seems like every time I look at the liquor store, and even if more people are consuming non-alcoholic products, it doesn't seem like the culture of exploration and the culture of trying new stuff is quite the same. So,
or at least growing at the same pace.
Yeah, so it seems like there will be more big producers that win and just supply that avenue than it will be that there will be a bunch of... I don't think every brewery is going to be making a non-alcoholic beer because it's what the people want. I think there's going to be a significantly smaller portion of people that want non-alcoholic things, and because of that, there's going to be less demand, or there is less demand for variety and for artisanally produced or artisanal seeming produced things. Because a lot of that stuff you obviously can't make non-alcoholic beer at home, but if you're someone who's interested in, or you were interested in craft beer or natural wine or cocktails or something like that, and then you stop drinking, you're also probably someone who wants to make some of that type of stuff at home. You know, like would make a spritzer, or like would make like some sort of, I mean, I bought the Aviary non-alcoholic book, and Sarah and I have made like non-alcoholic substitute bourbons and stuff that are fun. But I think if you're someone who's so dedicated to the artisanal aspect of it, you're probably someone who is going to be like more interested in making them yourself. But I don't know, or you just find other alternatives. There's a bazillion non-alcoholic things. They just don't present themselves as alcohol substitutes.
Right.
And once you decide you're not drinking alcohol anymore, how long do you adhere to, or why do you adhere to things that are trying to sell to people who still want to consume alcohol? You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to naysay it as like a category as a whole, but it just seems like it's an interesting. The growth might not be sustainable, obviously, but
to me, the NA stuff seems to be more like people who consider themselves drinkers, but maybe are not drinking at the moment, and that could be literally for this one drink, I'm not going to have alcohol.
Yeah.
But my next one might be, or it might be today I'm not drinking, or this week, or this month, or I just don't feel like drinking for as long as it is. But if you're just like, I don't drink, like I've never had a sip of beer in my life and I just don't drink, are those people like getting into NA craft beer? Why would they?
It's like it's a culture that they've chosen to opt out of. Why would you opt into like a small weird but a small segment of it? I was also talking to someone who I know who's like deeply in the RTD thing. It's a little bit of a gear shift, but not fully. And he was talking about how one of the problems with high-end RTD cocktails, like things that are trying to be like, here's a really good version of this, like a Negroni or something like that. Is that people that are, there's like this the tail at the end where you think there's this long tail where people are going to spend more money on this thing, but really what happens is there's no one at the end of the tail because those people just
make their
own stuff, or mix their own cocktails, or have this crazy, like there's not as much air in the high end version of like, whereas for beer, like if you make your own beer, you also probably buy a lot of beer. Mm-hmm. Whereas the hobbyists for that would be into a really high end of like with like maybe an aged Campari or something. They already have it. They're already doing it. They can find it on their own.
The other thing about this Boyson company in particular, and it's kind of how like I feel about some of these places. Like when you get like too specialized, I feel like it's like it just seems like you're just going after a fad, and I guess you could say that about like many places until it becomes a trend. But it's like, like I'm trying to come up with an example, but it's like,
Well, they were interesting because they went into a very narrow niche and then seemed to try to go everywhere with it. So like I still can't quite parse even from the article or from being on their website what their main source of revenue is. Mm-hmm. If it was direct to consumer sales, if it was their retail, like online direct to consumer sales, it was their retail, or if it was wholesaling, like they wholesale Gia. They have a couple of these other brands that I've never heard of, but that's not the target demographic. But
I mean, the brick
it seemed like
and
they were
mortar.
trying to smother the entire kind of non-alcoholic world there.
Right.
But I mean, maybe that's it's really hard, right? You go super deep into a niche or super broad into a small thing. Like you could, I don't know, and things can get confusing and
I've got
muddied.
Yeah. are we ready to move past this?
Probably.
Okay.
I don't really know if I have much more to
Yeah.
comment on it.
I've got a question for you.
Mm.
Have you been to the new Binny's that's opening up or opened up down the street? Have you been there?
No.
I'm guessing you would have.
No,
Oh, there's a Binny's opening up down the street now
I didn't know that.
at Elston and Damon. I guess that would be kind of.
Sure.
Yeah. Where the Vienna factory was.
Nice. See what you did there.
Yeah.
Oh, I did know that. I
Has
haven't
it
been in
opened
there
yet?
yet. I don't know.
Okay. Do you sell to Binny's?
We sell to Binny's mostly just right now, just Binny's in the city, which that would encompass. But I
Get it at Binny's. Up.
been preoccupied with
Just
things
too hard to
on-
get to the beer temple, so I'm just going to get my is-was at the Binny's next door to it, essentially. So,
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah,
interesting.
you gotta, once you have a tap room, you gotta sell beer where people are going, and people are going to the Binny's.
All right.
How does that make you feel? To do therapy about it.
Not good, but not necessarily, like, terrified. It's far enough away, but it's certainly, like, I guess it's going to, I mean, it certainly can't help sales.
Right, right. It's not like another tap room or something that would for
Right.
a brewery. Like, well, let's go to both of them. It's like no one's going to stop at the Binny's and then stop here.
Right.
But
So, just have to figure out how to get people to come to us instead of to them.
do you view them as very direct competition?
Yeah.
I think it makes sense. And I'm sure there's overlap in customer base, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I'm sure people who come here also have gone to Binny's.
Yeah,
Recently.
I would imagine.
So, I don't ever really go to Binny's, but that's just not necessarily out of solidarity or
Sure.
but it's just I just
Yeah, I
don't.
mean, also where we live, there isn't really a super close Binny's. I bet
Until
there's
now.
well, it's not super close to where
No,
we live. It's
I
close
know.
to where you work.
Yeah, that's true.
Which your address is. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Yeah. So curious. I'll have to go in there, do some reconnaissance.
Are you allowed in Binny's after what you did
Ooh.
when you worked there?
That's true. That's true.
We are two former Binny's employees.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I worked there. For those of you who don't know, I worked there part-time when there was a delay in opening up the beer temple. And my wife was like, you need to get an effing job. And I was like, well, I'm opening up a beer retail spot. I've never worked in beer retail in my life. Maybe I should apply to a Binny's. But people are going to know me in the city. So I'm going to go to the closest one outside of the city, which is Skokie, which apparently is the first Binny's.
Huh.
Yeah, and the offices used to be upstairs, so the bigwigs and
They're
stuff
out
would,
west now.
would see them. Yeah. And somebody caught wind. Actually, I got ratted out is what happened. And I know who you were, by the way, who ratted me out. I don't think they know that I know who they are. They may listen to the show. I know who you are. And I was just, the day I gave my 2-week notice, somebody came up and said, "Are you Chris?" And then pulled me into the back, into the break room. And, there's already a manager waiting there. Oh, okay. And then they asked me if I was opening up a shop. I said yes, which surprised them. I said, yeah, I just put in my 2-week notice. They're like, oh, well, you're fired. And I was like, okay. So, after the shift, I'm like, no, just leave right now. I was like, okay.
Yeah, they don't mess around with that
I'm
stuff.
like, do you want the shirt? Should I take my shirt off? They're like, no, you can have the shirt. I was like, okay.
Oh, you got to keep the shirt. That's nice.
Yeah, I think that's,
You should have worn it here.
yeah.
I almost got
And I
fired
saw the
from
guy on the
Binny's.
way out, and I didn't know it was him. I was like, hey, man. He's like, oh, my God. Hey. It's like, oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Hey.
What year was this?
Oh, I don't know, man.
I don't think you're really outing anyone for working in the beer department at a Binny's.
2012,
2012, yeah.
or
It's
something.
mostly dudes.
2012, yeah. Yeah.
I almost got fired from a Binny's too. I didn't though, so
Aha. Suckers.
yeah, I probably should have. I was not a good employee.
I think I was pretty good. I was pretty good.
Well, I was supposed to be at a register more often, and I thought it was really boring. So I would wander away and just be in the beer aisles and in the whiskey aisles selling things to people. And then they'd have to call me back to my register when there were rushes, and they didn't love that.
Nah.
But I'm like, I'm making you more money out here than I am at the register.
Right.
Whatever. I never got in trouble for that. I got in trouble because my drawer was off by $2 twice. Or maybe one time it was off by exactly $20.
That's not good.
But I had rang. I'm like, I have no money. You pay me $8 an hour. Like, you can check my pockets. I rang something like $12,000 plus of cash that day, and my drawer was off by $20. So I'm like, yeah, I probably miscounted one of the several hundred $20 bills that went through my hands today.
12,000 in cash.
12,000. It was
in one register
during Christmas. Yeah, well, you have to do drops, so it wasn't all in the register at the same time.
No, I know, but just one register doing that much, just cash.
Yeah. One guy alone did like $6,000 of it.
Oof.
I think he owned a bar. He came in and bought a lot of handles of stuff.
Right.
Because it was one of those, like, they're selling handles of vodka for cheaper than
Places can buy it.
Yeah, and that guy paid all cash. It was something like $6,000 worth of vodka.
There you go. And when the city comes around, you can say, "Look, I have a receipt," because you just have to show them
From Benny's.
No, you just have to show them a receipt that you've bought that.
An invoice.
An invoice.
Yeah.
So, presumably he could finagle it.
So what you're saying is most of the stuff in here is actually from Costco. That's
Benny.
That's
It's from Benny, so now I don't.
Your Bourbon
I'm
County.
going to save on gas money now.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. All right. Why don't we take a break?
Yep.
And then come back, and we're going to play the guessing game. See how good we are at guessing each other's beers that we've presented for us. All right. We'll be back.
Welcome back to the Beer Temple Podcast. I am your co-host, Mike Schallau from Is Was Brewing, and I'm here with your co-host, Chris Quinn from the Beer Temple. Chris, how are you?
I'm doing great. I've got some beers picked out for you.
Yeah, what'd you pour me?
Well, you're going to tell me that. You're going to tell me. So I got 2 beers.
Okay.
We're just going to keep it a little bit shorter this time. I think we did a full 3 last time, maybe even more. But
I think we did 3 each, so it was like 6 total.
Yeah, so I've got 2 here.
All right.
And, you're just going to let me know what you think and describe it to people.
We've got a, like, I would call this like a very classic American IPA color. Mm-hmm. Like a kind of orangey, golden
orange,
hue.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Something that, like, this, when I started drinking and making beer at home, this is the goal. Like, this beautiful kind of, not so straw pale, but this, like, nice orange tint to it.
Yep.
I am getting a good amount of malt character, but not a malt bomb necessarily.
When you say malt bomb, what do you mean by malt bomb?
Like it's lost all its hop character. There is some, like, marmalade-y, citrusy thing going on.
You're drinking it now.
Mm-hmm. This is a word that I really think usually means absolutely nothing, but it is very legitimately like a very smooth beer. There's no jagged edges to it at all. It's very balanced between sweetness and bitterness.
Yeah, there's
the malt and hop character is very harmonious. It's a very good beer.
Yeah, definitely a lot of hops. Definitely, or a lot of bitterness and a lot of sweetness, I would say.
Yeah, but balanced.
Yeah.
It is. I think this is where I'm going to start trying to start.
Yeah, you don't have to
start looking
guess.
silly. This feels like a legacy beer to me. Something that's been being made for a long time.
Okay.
Something that has evolved, but is still very much at its heart. It is still very much at its heart a thing that started in probably 20 years ago.
Okay.
So
2004.
Yeah, or before. Yeah, maybe not before. What do you want me to? How do you want me to guess these? Do you think?
Why don't you pick go for style?
I think this is an American.
Yeah, go for style, and then go for maybe country of origin.
There's no discernible alcohol heat necessarily. It's not it's not like devoid of it completely, but it's not something that's like 9+% alcohol. I'm guessing. I think this is Two Hearted. Is what I.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that final answer, right?
Yeah.
So can you give me the bag closest to you, Serge? So here you go. I got it in a little brown bag.
I'm gonna look like a
Here.
silly.
Pull it
Oh,
open.
it's a bottle.
No, you're not at all silly.
Oh, it's 90 minute.
90 minute. So it is a legacy. It is a double IPA, and it is boozy.
Man, the last time I probably had this, it's not just like it's warming now. Like it's warming my chest more than when you drink it. The last time I had this, I remember it being so much more out of balance towards being hoppy. But that could just be my palate's changed so much.
Right. Or maybe it says it's good until December. I didn't run like the Julian. So
I'm sure
assuming
it's
it's 6 months, like if 6 months at the most, that means it would have been from June. So not bad.
It's tasting great.
Yeah.
It is feeling a little warmer now. Am I like?
What's the
I've given it
alcohol
more
in
time.
that?
9.
9, yeah.
So I think what did I say? It's not 9%.
You can leave it. You don't have to.
I'm a genius. I was gonna hide it
Just have to
again.
put it back in the bag.
When
yeah.
do you think they started brewing this? Was I right? I think I was like pretty close to 2000. Does 2004 sound about right?
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's probably, it could even be maybe, I would say 90, 98, I would guess.
Yeah, maybe I said, or maybe earlier. This is a pretty Centennial forward beer, right? Centennial,
Yeah.
Amarillo, and Warrior, if I remember correctly.
Wow, look at you. I don't know. Yeah.
2001 is what Serge is showing me
All right,
now. Will you look the
2001.
hops up in it? I think
A
it's
classic, a legacy.
yeah.
And you said, so next time try to say what style it is. And,
Warrior,
and where it's
Amarillo,
from.
and Simcoe. So
Got
there's no
it.
Centennial in there, but Warrior is such a weird choice for a continually hop thing like that. But
Yes. So
it's
there you
tasting
are.
great.
Yeah, solid beer. Just picked it.
I
We have
think-
it on our single shelf, and I was like, huh. Obviously, somebody at the shop was intrigued enough to open one up and wanted to, or thought people would be. So
Yeah. I think looking back on my
good beer.
guess there, Two Hearted is a little bit more bitter than this.
yeah, it's hoppier. I
Yeah,
think,
it's
in a
hoppier.
way. Not as sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, this is much. It's not.
It's
like,
bigger.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay.
But like between 7 and 9. How is Two Hearted 7%? Right?
I think it's
7.1.
8,
It's
isn't it?
8%. So
Yeah.
all right. I don't feel bad about that one.
Yeah, maybe it's 7. Might be 7.
It's so interesting. It's so different than what IPA has become too. That like
Right.
it's so agreeable that even at that alcohol, it's not. I expected it to have more edges, and if I think of it as an American IPA, be a little
Yeah.
bit more aggressive. Especially because, like, I mean, I guess
7% for Too Hard.
what is Headhunter?
7.5.
7.5.
Yeah.
Do they call it a double IPA? Or is that
No.
an American IPA? That's
IPA.
like, to me, that's like a quintessential American. I guess it's not. That's like a. But that to me, like that's a flavor,
it
a
is,
profile
yeah.
where I'm like, that's an IPA. Where this is a little more tame.
Yeah. Yeah.
Should have
It's
gotten
an
a
old
water
school.
instead. I'm going to drink this
Old
Goldfinger
school,
beer 'cause it's kinda close.
double IPA. Old school East Coast.
Yeah.
For people like,
Yeah.
when I think of East Coast IPA, I still think of this, where now people think of New England, rightfully so.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, it's,
I still
it's
think of this
funny.
as East Coast, and New England
Yeah.
is a separate thing, which
Yeah.
is silly. But
But I don't think East Coast
I guess
IPA
it's-
really exists anymore.
I mean, it's kind of fair because Vermont has no coast,
true.
unless you're on Lake Champlain. But then we're not. Anyway, so we have another beer.
We have another beer.
It is dark.
What you got? Yeah. Much darker.
Yeah, there's a ring of foam on it. A little bit of foam coming up still too.
Yeah.
It's pretty sticky.
Pretty dark.
You
Yeah.
can't. There's almost no light coming through it.
And when
at
you
all.
swirl it, you
Actually,
can
there is
kind
no
of
light coming through it. The
you
light I
can
thought was
s-
coming through it is the record light coming off of the console.
Yeah, there's like no light coming through, and when you swirl it, it kind of has like a tan, like residue that kind of slides down
Yeah.
the inside of the glass.
Legs, right? That was-
Legs, yes.
Okay. It is on the nose. There's obviously some dark malt.
You're
There's
laughing
something-
because it's obviously like a ton of what? Yeah.
Yeah, there's a ton of it. There's also something fruity going on.
Yeah, there sure is.
I don't know if it's actual fruit or what that is yet. It could be like a really bright coffee.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting more like some alcohol heat. Not a lot, but and a little touch of something a little vegetal.
Okay.
Not like in a clashing way, but maybe some either hop character or maybe like a slightly green coffee character. Or it could be. I'm not getting. I'm not overwhelmed with any sort of spirit or barrel character that might be in this. I can't rule it out, but it's not predominant.
Have you tasted it yet?
Not yet. Am I about to be embarrassed by that statement?
No. Having fun in the D&D room in there. What you got?
Okay. There's a distinct bitterness on the finish.
Yes.
It's very full.
I know, lasting bitterness. I
Really
drank mine
lasting.
like 30, 45 seconds before you, and I'm still having like a very noticeable.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't want to. I want to kind of talk about it to
Yeah,
people,
yeah.
but I don't want to persuade you.
For a while in that finish, I'm like, this could be coffee, but it's still going, and it doesn't feel like coffee. It feels like malt, like burnt malt bitterness and hops. Did you double dogfish us?
I don't know.
I haven't
Why?
had-
What do you?
I haven't had a worldwide stout in a while,
Okay, so you're thinking it's a
but
big
this
boy.
is big. The
Yeah.
alcohol isn't. I should be so quick to judge as the last one. How worldwide stout is like 12%.
I think, or more. Yeah, it's like it's really. I think it's higher. I think it's like 14, 15 even.
Yeah. Wasn't it 20 at some point?
I think it goes up and down. Yeah. I could,
So it's just it's hard to like. I feel like not knowing the shelves super well. Like
oh yeah.
I
So
don't have
these
a-
are all from the Beer Temple. Last time I think that wasn't necessarily the case, but these are all from the Beer Temple. But there's plenty to befuddle both of us in there. I mean, there's plenty that I've never had.
This isn't that Deschutes beer you love. I don't think. I think it's bigger
Obsidian?
than that. Yeah, I think it's bigger than Obsidian and not quite as like minty.
So let's talk about style.
not getting-
What kind of what style do you think this beer
I
is?
think this is a stout, imperial stout, but
Okay.
I don't think it's in that like 15
Okay.
plus percent range. I think
Okay.
it's 10,
Okay.
maybe to 12.
Okay. So big. Very
It's
big.
pretty big.
Yeah. 10
I-
to 12% is big.
Yeah.
But, it's like the Bourbon counties or whatever. They're like 14 and stuff like that, I
Right,
think.
right,
So
right.
not maybe quite that big. Okay. Think there's anything in it?
I don't. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think it's
Okay.
straight up. I think it's just roasted malt.
I'm not
There-
saying this because I'm trying to tell you to say that there's an adjunct or anything, but I was on the aroma. I was getting that fruitiness, and I was getting like a hazelnut thing in there too. I thought it was, which I usually don't pick up on, but and I'm not saying hazelnut extract.
I don't get any of that on the flavor though.
I don't either. No. Maybe like the skin on the hazelnut, that little brown little like skin, that kind of like
Yeah.
panicky thing I could
Sure.
get. But I think that's just because it's bitter. Imperial Stout.
Got a little bit of bacon
No
spice on
adjuncts,
that.
you're
yeah,
saying.
sorry. I should probably wrap this
And
up.
no barrel.
I don't get much barrel.
Yeah. Isn't it
there-
funny how like hard this is when you have no idea what you're drinking?
Yeah. Well, now that you say that, maybe there is barrel in there.
No, I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to trick you.
Yeah, if there is barrel, No, there's no barrel. Like I remember, like last time I got Dragon's Milk, and that's only partially barrel aged. So
Yeah.
I don't get much barrel on this at all. I spent
Okay.
a lot of time drinking barrel aged beer, and that was a long time ago, though.
All right. So you think it's
I think it's an imperial stout.
non-barrel
I think
aged?
it's non-barrel aged. I don't think there's an
Imperial stout.
adjunct. I think it might. It could have coffee in it, but I don't know that it does.
Okay. So if anything,
It's
up
hoppy.
beyond like just a classic stout.
I'm also kind of playing you. Like, what
Yeah.
would you pick?
Well, I mean, I don't know.
All right, I'm just gonna say I think it's.
Where do you think
not-
it's from? What country do you think it's from?
Ooh, I think it's from America.
Okay. All right. Now pick a.
Is that correct?
I'm
No,
not
you're
going
not
to
gonna tell me. I think it's from America.
Pick a beer.
Who makes a beer like this that you would pick up a single bottle of in your shop? Is it?
Or maybe I broke
is
open.
it
I mean, I
from-
broke open a 6-pack with the last one.
And you don't even you broke that 6-pack open? Oh, the last time we did this.
Oh no, for this one. I mean, this was from a 6-pack.
It's either from America or from a like European brewery that is making American styles.
Okay.
This is I feel like a specifically American profile with the bitterness and the
right.
either adjunct or hoppiness of it.
I mean, you don't have to pick a beer. I don't think I was picking beers, and that's not part of the guess. So you're pretty much done. You think it's an American Russian Imperial Stout, no adjuncts or anything like
Yeah.
that. If you want to
Okay.
pick a beer, what would you say?
I don't even know well enough anymore. Old Rasputin.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like a
That's
more
like only
classic
8%
one.
though, so I kind of like went back.
Hand the man the bag.
I'm gonna embarrass myself.
You said that last time too, and you didn't.
It's so tiny.
I've never had this beer.
Oh, it's Taurus.
Taurus the
Tyrant.
Tyrant from Hoppin' Frog.
Triple oatmeal Russian Imperial Stout.
There you
I
go.
don't think there's any adjuncts in it.
No, I don't think so.
It is 14% alcohol.
There you
though.
go. Yeah, it's
But
strong.
That's what they do. They do that well. It is.
It's a little mini can,
Yeah, it's like an 8-ounce can.
but not a squat 8-ounce. It's like a weird, and it's not a Red Bull 8-ounce. It's a tweener.
Yeah, Boris I should have guessed Boris. Or Doris.
Shoulda.
Doris. This is
Doris
Doris
the
is the
Destroyer.
double, right?
Yeah, this is Taurus. I was going to get Quarus the Quasher, but we only had one 4-pack left, and I didn't want to bust it open.
That was. I was directionally correct. I didn't guess the beer.
Oh, you were. I think you did pretty darn well.
Yeah, there's no barrel. There. It is hoppy, right? That's just like really hoppy. Like
I think so.
There's a moment that bitterness and the greenness of it compared to like what roasted malt bitterness is can be kind of under roasted coffee or under rested coffee can have
Yeah.
some parazini green pepper things to it.
Well, let's see.
It wasn't quite there though.
This super tasty triple oatmeal Russian Imperial Stout is rich, dark, and flavorful, yet amazingly balanced and silky smooth. I will say it kind of had smoothness to it.
It's pretty smooth.
Like the mouthfeel. That's the way we like it, and an obvious progression in our Imperial Stout family. There comes a day when you break out of your shell and stretch your wings. Now is the time for Taurus. Shell, not a frog. Wings, not a frog.
Well, you break out of the shell when you're a bird.
Right.
You don't.
Not a frog.
Not a frog. Frogs
Turtles have shells.
aren't frogs. Well, they become tadpoles first.
I guess they do.
Is it a shell though? It's kind of more of a soft
No,
sack.
They don't have a shell. There's
Yeah.
no shell in a frog egg.
Yeah, no.
I don't think.
No, there isn't a turtle egg.
I mean, they're
Very
amphibians.
soft though.
So, yeah.
It's true.
So they don't really. I don't, maybe they bust out of their shell.
Maybe. It's a good beer.
It's an even better label.
Yeah, should we describe the label? It's black and white.
Sticker.
It is a sticker. It is a frog behind barbed wire with a tank.
Yes, and a glass
and
of
holding
beer.
which either is a
mug
glass of beer or a Molotov cocktail of some sort.
It's definitely
It's a glass of
it's
beer.
the Hoppin' Frog glass
The
of
glass,
beer.
that's true. That's
that
a
they
good
have.
point.
Yeah. So there you go. All right. So I think you
Weird.
are definitely 100% 2 for 2. You nailed them both.
Oh, all right.
I think so. Very,
Thank
very
you.
well. Yeah,
Thank you.
much better than I will do.
I don't believe
Which
you.
is okay. All right, so
I'll go pick my beers.
we'll go pick your beers. We'll be right back.
And we're back. Welcome back to the Beer Temple Podcast. I'm Mike Schallau. I'm here with Chris Quinn, and we are guessing beers that we've blind poured for each other. I clearly dominated the first round, felt very strongly about it, that I did a great job. It's absolutely a competition.
Well, okay. To you it is. So I've got the first beer.
Yep.
This one, you were saying like the classic IPA color. I'd say this is just maybe a shade lighter than that. It's also slightly, it's clear, but it's not, certainly not crystal clear. But it's decently clear. I don't know if it's like the glass.
Glass has a little, has a little dewiness.
Yeah,
to it.
dewiness to it. Some foam on top.
It's still like it's pretty clear.
Yeah,
it's
it
not
is.
like read a newspaper through it German clear. They would scoff at this, but it's about as clear as I think these get.
Yeah. Smells very clean. It has it's interesting. I'm getting almost like a red apple-y note to it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Not green apple, red apple.
Yeah, I said that specifically because I didn't want it to be like acetaldehyde. Like I'm not saying it's that, but like maybe apple skin or something like that.
Sure.
I'm trying to see what else. It's quite cold. I'm trying to warm it up a little bit. Well, it's not that cold actually, but I'm not getting a ton of like toasty, caramelly, anything like that. I'm not getting a ton of like big esters.
What are you getting? What's predominant for you? Is it that
This
apple
mild, like fruity, like orchard fruit thing.
thing? Okay.
Drinking it, and it is definitely has some hop character to it for sure. Very easy drinking as well. It's light, assertive hop quality, but the hoppiness it is definitely like a kettle hop, and more so a bittering hop, and fairly assertive. It dominates the finish of the beer. Really nice, like texture to this beer as well. Almost like
All three beers we've done so far, the texture's been on point. This is a little, I think, the
Yeah,
lightest
this is-
of the three we've had yet.
Yeah.
Body-wise.
and it's hoppy. So like I'm starting to go towards like American pale ale or maybe IPA. It's really darn hoppy.
It is. And like a relatively, it's kettle hop, but fresh, vibrant hop character.
There's a little malt sweetness to it.
Finish is very dry.
Very dry and very bitter, which is what's making me think now, like, could this be some sort of like wacko super hopped lager? Yeah, but like I'm gonna throw my lot in and say this is like a pale ale or an IPA. To me, it reminds me almost of like, see, and this is where I'm gonna get myself in trouble. Like a more aggressively bitter, like Sierra Nevada-esque beer.
Okay. Interesting.
It doesn't have the malt body though of that beer. I'm gonna say this is an IPA from America. It tastes very clean. It tastes pretty fresh. I'm not getting any oxidation on it. It reminds me of almost like a Dale's Pale Ale or something like that.
It'd be so embarrassing when he gets it wrong.
I know.
Lose all his cred.
Yeah, I mean, my guess is it's like one of the many hoppy beers that I probably won't get.
Pick one.
I'll go with Dale's Pale Ale.
Okay, I think it's the one, not that one. That one.
Uh-oh. It's a big... is it a stovepipe? Is it dust? No, it's Two-Hearted.
I feel like Dale's Pale Ale
Nice.
is pretty good.
Yeah.
But you saying it's like a bigger Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, I was like, oh, damn, he's going to
Yeah.
get this.
Yeah.
Because it has, Centennial versus Cascade. Is
Yes.
that like on it?
Very good. How old is this?
I didn't check.
Let's look. Can you see? How old is this beer?
It's one of those things where it might be old, but it tastes fresh. Like I think they're not getting much oxygen ingress.
Best by December 1st.
Oh, so probably
there you
decently
go.
fresh.
Pretty darn fresh, I'd
Yeah.
say.
I think you
Yeah.
nailed that. You're right there.
American IPA. I might have said or pale. I have to pick one. I have to pick one on this next one.
Yeah, I mean, saying it's Dale's Pale Ale,
Which is an IPA.
I'm not going to dock you points for it.
Dale's Pale Ale is an IPA, isn't it? Or no, it's a pale, I guess.
They call it a pale ale. I don't know.
Yeah.
Those were hard, loose rules.
Yeah.
Like Zombie Dust being a 6.2% pale ale is,
Yeah. So it's an
Its own thing.
older hoppy. It had that kind of classic kind of pale ale vibe. So I guess it is probably an American pale ale, but I remember it being Dale's as like the one that was like pretty close to an IPA.
Yeah.
6.5% pale.
If you put 90-minute and Two-Hearted, if you handed me those glasses blind and you told me to pick which one was which, I think I would get it wrong.
Really?
I think so, because like I if I like knowing that 90-minute is 9% and continuously hop for 90 minutes and like I think it was 90 IBUs at one point.
Yeah.
The thing we drank there's no way that was 90 IBUs.
No. And it's interesting with this one because I said I was getting all this orchard fruit where to me Two-Hearted has always been about like orange and grapefruit and maybe a little floral.
That's like when I was getting that orange marmalade thing
Yeah.
on the 90-minute. I'm like, oh, this is probably. I couldn't get once you like you're like this is probably Two-Hearted or this is probably whatever this is. It's hard to get off that when you're doing this,
Sure.
You get these reference points and
Right.
But that's probably coming from the Amarillo. Good Amarillo will do that too.
All right. On to
On to
the
beer two.
next beer. Much more foam on this one, especially when you
I
first
should've
brought
I
it
should have
in.
waited.
It had a lot of foam
there's no
and
way
it's
you
died
wouldn't have
down.
figured
But
it
that's
out.
I mean, part of the beer is seeing the foam
yeah.
on it. So there's even now, after having had that last beer that whole time, there's still I would say, a quarter inch of foam on it, and it was real bone dry. I'm talking bone dry foam.
I
My
don't know.
favorite type.
I might have poured this off a Luker. You don't know.
I do know because I took a humidity reading and it came up as
Bone dry.
Death Valley. Yeah.
Death Valley foam.
Death Valley foam, which is how I like it.
DVF.
I like my foam to be, 48% beer. I'm talking bone dry.
48%.
So, okay. So, very similar color. Maybe a
what
little
I was
bit
going for.
hazier. Definitely a little hazier than the last one. I think the foam may also be just a hair darker, maybe? Just a hair?
There wasn't much foam on the last one, but you might be right.
All right. So, this one smells Belgian to me.
Interesting.
It smells like there's some Brett in here.
Maybe.
Again, it does have some of that orchard fruit. It has some orange to it. It smells really nice.
It does. It smells great.
There's also a hint of a like like some phenolics, almost like a maybe some like fennel seed or something like that in there.
Phenololic seed.
Interesting. Okay. I drank it, and it's dry. It has a nice, like, mild marmalade-y character to it. It's very straightforward and simple in some ways, but a lot going on in others. I think it's Belgian, and I think it's a Belgian style, and I think it's from Belgium, is what I think.
Okay. Someone emailed me recently that congratulated me on the tap room, and then said they live in Dublin now, and they said they were in Belgium at Fantôme and trying to tell Danny Fantôme about Iswas.
I'm sure he was very interested.
He didn't understand why anyone in America would be making Saison. And he's also, the guy was like, yeah, I guess he doesn't drink beer. I'm like,
Yeah, I've heard that, yeah.
I'm like, if you've had any of the beers I've been sending here recently, that would make a lot more sense. But interesting you think it's from Belgium.
There's a little bit of a glow to it, so I think it's a little bit higher in alcohol.
Okay.
There also is a distinct drying, and I think that would probably come from some from hops. So I'm thinking either this is Orval or a Saison.
Okay.
And it definitely could go either way. It's a little, it's presenting as more bitter than I would think from an Orval, but maybe, with some age on them, that Brett takes over, dries them out, and if there's any bitterness left over, maybe that presents. So I don't know where to, I guess I could pick a Blaugie Saison or something like that, but I'm gonna go Orval for this beer. Am I?
Okay.
What am I? Oh, I can tell from the bottle. Okay, it's Orval.
It's Orval.
Nice.
Yeah. Well
Very
done.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, thank you. Thank you for picking this beer. And when's it from? It's from. It's from September of 2023. So it is older. Relatively.
It's not that old for an Orval, though.
Almost a year.
Yeah.
I'd say that's on the old-ish. So, to me, I think 6 months is kind of like the sweet spot. A year is I think the Brett is definitely presenting itself a little bit more.
Yeah. It's tasting great.
It is. And it is amazing how Saison-y, how it really straddles the Belgian Pale and Saison world.
Totally. And then there's also you drink things like this and you get things from the Brettanomyces, that combination of Brettanomyces, and I'm assuming they're using Trappist yeast. I
think so.
That Saison yeast alone kind of brings. So there's times where I'm not with this beer, but there's things that I've had with single strains of Saison yeast where I'm this is not Brett, but this is Orval-like.
Yeah.
And then there's some things that Brett does that just other things just don't do. And like when I started swishing it around in my mouth, it all became bubbles, and like it all just like, which is like a telltale sign of something bottle conditioned and something with pretty high conditioning on it, and something on a little older maybe. Tasting great though. Great job.
And bone, like, just so dry.
So dry. They get drier too. Like the old
and
old
it's, like,
ones,
bitter.
Like the year, like the couple years on them, like
Yeah.
they're drier than water.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm surprised at the bitterness. I mean, all four of the beers have been very bitter.
Pretty bitter. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to give stuff that like you could you might be able to get.
Yes, it's no fun otherwise.
No. Or at least get close to. Like I'm not trying to. Maybe next time I try to trick you.
Yes,
I didn't try to trick you last time, but I did.
you did with
Yeah.
a few. And I've totally botched Orval in the past blind.
Well, that's like one of those things. 'Cause like it depends on when you're catching it, right?
Right. And just
So-
where your head's at. And I think in Jet Beer D, I botched it. But
Yeah. I mean, it's tough. I mean, it also like you said, it like, especially because like you clocked it was Belgium pretty easily, but then the way that people are
also
making
the second guessing, that'll kill you.
Well, the way that people are making saisons in America is so. I mean, it's not the people that I really respect are making saison in America is so overlapped with the Orval as well, right? The intentional inclusion of Brettanomyces. I add it during packaging. They add it late in the process. Like there's a lot of things that I don't know if there is. I think Blaugie is a pretty straight up culture. I think most of those are just straight up single cultures. And I don't think Fantôme is a clean culture, but who knows? But the way saison has evolved, it's much more Orval-like in our perception and our expressions of it as Americans than I think the traditional versions are.
Well, thank you for picking that. Well done. I think we went 4 for 4. I'm giving us 4
Give us
for
4 for 4?
Yeah, I think
All
we went
right.
4 for 4.
We got to make it harder next time then.
I mean, I think really it's just like what are we getting from these things,
Yeah.
and how do they present blind? Like when you had the Voodoo Ranger, the first time, and it's just like, and you nailed it. Like you didn't get what it was,
Yeah.
but you were like, this isn't for me. But I think it's executed exactly as they want it to be.
Yeah.
So like they did exactly what they wanted. They like nailed it. And I would say that's like exactly what Voodoo Ranger
Yeah, it's not for me. But
So
they did it. They did what they wanted to do.
yeah.
I'm gonna bring you Hard Monster next time and see if you can figure that one out.
Oof. I mean, yeah, you'd get me on that one because I don't really know what Monster tastes like. I think I've only had
I think
like
the color might
one
give it away
Monster.
for you.
Oh, it's green, right?
I don't even know.
Okay.
It's just like it might be like Red Bull colored.
Got
which is
it.
Beer, close to beer. Who knows? Maybe you're like, I think this is Pivo Pills.
Right. So we have a bunch of letters
Great.
that we should be getting to. A whole bunch. So for those of you who are unaware, you can send us letters, and from every now and then we will get to them. And if you want to send us an actual letter, message in a bottle, whatever you want, that should go to 3173 North Elston Avenue, Elston, Chicago, Illinois, 60618. That's the Beer Temple. Send it to whoever's attention you want. We'll figure it out.
Figure it out.
Or you can send an email to insiders@craftbeertemple.com. An electronic letter,
Thank you.
electronic mail, and yes. So it's for a while. We were talking about lacing and foam for a while. So we've been getting letters with pictures of lacing and stuff like that. So I wanted to say thank you to the people who've been doing that. We got one from Mike
Schallau.
Yep, Mike Schallau. No, this is Mike Burdett. Oh shoot, he just said Mike. I broke my own.
Sorry.
So sorry, Mike.
That's my fault.
So he sent some good lacing. He said not entirely sure this is 10 out of 10. It's an Allagash white. I'd say it was a. I'd give that a. To me,
That's pretty good.
that's not a 10 to me. That's a
Your scale is nuts. I guess it's not a 10, but it's like a 9.6.
no. It's a 9 to me.
That's wild.
That's a 9.
That whole glass is white.
It's good. It's good.
I need a source
That's
image
excellent.
for what you think.
9 is amazing.
Yeah.
9
What's
is great.
a 10? I need a source image for a 10 so I can better understand the scale
We
we've
can
created.
see it. I'll know it when I see it. So I wanted to thank Mike
Thank you, Mike.
for that. We
You're
also have
welcome.
another one from Alex. High quality lacing, he said, from Little Lager in St. Louis.
Little Lager is the beer. Little Lager is a place.
Little Lager is the beer,
I mean, that's
think.
pretty cool. I wouldn't give that a 10.
That
but
looks like zebra
it's little
stripes.
s-
Or
like
not
little
zebra stripes.
steps,
Like, it's crazy.
which is I've never seen that. That's pretty cool.
Insanely defined.
What would you give that?
that?
The same picture, the same beer, different time.
Different. Looks like it's a different beer. Further evidence. Yeah, different. I mean, this one, it looks like complete horizontal stripes
It's
where
like a
there's
ladder,
nothing
yeah.
really in between.
But he's taking little sips.
Right,
so
he's taking
they're-
little sips. Little sips.
which is fun. You can
Good.
take little sips.
Good lacing. I think it's very visually appealing in
Yeah.
a way. I think that one in a way is more visually appealing than the last one. But
Interesting.
But I'll give this one.
As like abstract art.
Well, I just think like Bing, if you saw one with like distinct lines. Now the other ones had the lacing running through, which I think technically is what you want.
I mean,
you know?
we're creating the technicalities on this one.
Yeah,
so,
we are.
What you're saying is you're more attracted to like the ladders, the
Those ladders are pretty cool looking. I'm saying I can
they're
appreciate
unique
both.
for sure. Okay,
Appreciate both.
Got it.
You know, I like it all. I think that's very good lacing as well.
better than the last one.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
Also, it's only halfway down. So it's
Sure.
true. It needs
You
to be
gotta
an
see
empty.
the bottom
It's
half.
got to be empty.
Yeah.
So first of all, this is technically 0 out of 10 because it's disqualified.
DQ'd.
But
Well, that's not a 0. That's a DQ.
it's a DQ.
Yeah.
It's disqualified.
It's not like
it
a
was
ray
on
gun.
I think it was on its way. Right. Exactly.
Topical reference.
Exactly. It was on its way to very good, a very good score.
And he didn't send us the rest of it.
He said further evidence, but I
excited.
think it was a different beer.
Oh, okay. I mean to get that distinct lacing, that ladder style lacing on two different beers.
Yeah, the other one was
Something's- there's
laddery,
something
but
going
not
on there.
Yeah, so hey, there you go.
What's that little lager you said in St. Louis?
Little Lager in St. Louis. So I think it's.
Who sent-
I think
who
that's
sent
maybe
us
the
that?
name of the. That's from Alex.
Thanks,
So
Alex.
Thank you to Alex, as well for that.
Yeah,
So
we're on Steve Hamburg's walking route, and so he'll pop his head in and come in every once in a while. So we've been having some conversations about how to get better lacing on ours. We're at like a 0 for you, but I'm also drinking this.
yeah, there's that. That is terrible lacing on that beer. What is going on, man? That Goldfinger, Tom. What you doing, dude?
Well, we've drastically cut back on our sanitizer actually because I've talked to Steve. He's like, the actual parts per million you need to sanitize something for like that is way lower than what they tell you. They tell you to use 3-4 tabs to sell you more.
Right, I could believe
So we
that.
started doing some titration stuff, and it got we're down. We're not down to 0 tabs. Obviously, we're still sanitizing things, but it's helped a lot. And also, we had brand new glasses when we started, so even washing them a couple of times, I think there's just like you got to wear them in a little bit.
I can see that as well.
You know.
I've got another one. Hey guys, Zach here.
What's up, Zach?
I'm out in Boulder County, Colorado. I actually have a small brewery out here called Cellar West. I've been
Heard of
listening to the podcast on brew days while cleaning kegs, during canning, etc. For about a year now. I definitely enjoyed the tongue-in-cheek banter. Don't know what you're talking about there. Alongside the
Straightforward.
passionate and honest talk, that's what I'm talking about, surrounding our industry and craft. I thought I'd reach out and offer up a little either or for you.
Ooh, I've been liking these.
Yeah. Theme here. Sorry, I'll learn how to read.
I thought that was pronouns first.
I missed the E. Theme here is Battle of the Beer Cities. Where would you rather spend a weekend enjoying beer at breweries, beer bars, local pubs, etc.? Okay.
Great.
Ready?
Let's go. Serge,
Oof,
we're gonna need answers.
man.
We're gonna need answers from you too, Serge. We'll tell. We'll throw the mic over you. You can throw it in there, if he exists.
Either Munich or Brussels. Woof.
I've
Woof,
never.
woof, woof.
I've been to Brussels. I've never been to Munich, so that weighs heavily on this decision. Where I'd like to see Munich. If it's just my understanding of the beer scene, I gotta go Brussels.
Okay.
But as my life actually exists, I'd say Munich.
Okay. Man, Munich or Brussels? Man, what an amazing question. I think I'm going to go Munich on this one, just because there's so many breweries that have outposts or are stationed there, more so than Brussels, which is kind of maybe a centering point for that whole place.
Serge, right hand is Munich, left hand is Brussels.
Oh, he says he wimped out.
He said Tampa.
He wimped out. Yeah, he basically said Tampa. Clearwater.
Destin. Sorry for anyone listening to Destin. That wasn't meant to be. I just don't want your beer scene.
Either London or Prague.
Ooh.
I've never been to Prague.
Prague.
London,
I'm going to London
day.
next year. You're going to London
Dude,
first?
London is maybe the greatest. I think London over Munich
really
or
hate
Brussels.
side pulls.
Okay, so you have your first side pull. Then what do?
You have 20 more of them?
Right, but think of London and the cask.
Yeah.
The cask culture is so much more unique than the side pull culture. I can't believe I just said that. Side pull culture. I am never saying that
it's
again.
Derogatory because
ever.
the cask itself is not
Beer,
different.
Yes, it is.
The dispensing method.
No, the whole point is that so I was just
But
listening.
you're saying American side pull culture, which you hate.
No, I'm saying yes. I guess I was, but no. What I'm saying is, those.
Finally admitted he hated it.
I'm just saying
Hater.
this one to me is easy. London casks, cask all day.
This is another one where I'm going to London at some point in the next year, and so
see what you say after you get back.
I want to go to Prague.
All right, ready?
Yeah.
So we've had different answers on both. This
Yeah.
means these are well thought out.
Well,
I've
I've chosen both times, kind of.
Well, now you gotta
Serge
pick
is
one.
showing me a picture of Henry Potter, so
Okay, so that means Henry Potter. What is that?
yeah.
Henry
My wife
Porter.
hates when I say that.
Henry Porter.
Henry Porter.
So you picked Brussels and Prague. I picked
Yes.
Munich and London. Okay, we're going U.S. now. Asheville, North Carolina, or Portland, Maine. It's a good one. This is such a good one.
Yeah, they're well balanced,
Smaller cities, very beer centric.
I gotta go Portland, Maine. I haven't been to Maine since I've never been to Asheville, but I haven't been to Maine since I was probably 12.
And here, the theme here is beer cities. Where would you rather spend a weekend enjoying beer at breweries, beer bars, local pubs, etc.? I still cannot believe you said Prague over London. I haven't been to Prague, so okay. Boy, oh boy. Wow, that is a tough one. They're such both beautiful cities.
Yeah,
One has Sierra Nevada
that's true. I didn't
and
think about
the
that.
gleaming jewel. The other one has Allagash.
Yeah.
You got
ROBTOD, baby.
Maine Beer Co.
Uh-huh.
At 1, and you've got
Bissell Brothers. You got...
You've got Bissell Brothers. You've got Oxbow. But in Asheville, you have, well, I guess you have Burial and Wicked Weed, and but then you also have Zillicoa, and also Fonta Flora. I would put in that area right out there.
Are they in there?
Yeah, they're. If they're in a weekend, you could go there.
That'd be a day of your weekend, though, probably.
Half a day.
All right.
Yeah. I think I'm going. Oh boy, this one I is a true toss up. Now, but the food and like in Portland and the vibe.
I'm going. I think I'd love Asheville, but I think I'm going Portland.
I've been to both several times.
Just get a glimpse of the Beer Yeti Rob Todd. See if he's
Sierra
out
Nevada
there.
is pretty magical. Sierra Nevada at Mills River is like, I mean, Allagash is cool. Mm-hmm. It is nothing in comparison to Sierra Nevada at Mills River. I mean, you could spend easily an entire day there.
Yeah, having some like day old.
I spent 3 days just doing tours of that place and was like, this place is amazing. Man, spend a weekend enjoying the beer at breweries, beer bars, local bars. See, the bars and local pubs are going to be way better in Portland than they are in Asheville.
Maybe. We'll see. Who knows?
Oh, they will be.
Okay.
I'm going to go Portland.
I'm going to go Portland. Or somewhere
I'm going to go Portland. Yeah.
And that's like...
all right, here's another.
Showing me
a great. All right, we're 3 for 3.
Yeah.
Here's another
and it's
great
no disrespect to Asheville.
Not at all. These have been very difficult.
Yeah.
Austin, Texas, San Diego, California.
Oh, I've been to Austin several times, so I'm going to San Diego every day of the week.
I'm going San Diego as well.
I gotta be honest, like I enjoyed Austin.
Yeah.
But coming from Chicago, it's one of those things of like, this isn't a real city.
Yeah.
This isn't the city that the way you're talking about it.
Yeah.
And not that San Diego is, but I've never experienced San Diego. So.
Oh, okay.
And the biggest.
That's right. When we were out there, we started it in California. Went up.
In
LA went up. Yeah.
And the biggest attraction for me, one of the top two for Austin, is actually outside of Austin. So if we're counting those things, like Jester King would be a place
that
I'd want
counts.
to go.
No, you have to count that.
So
it's a weekend and you're traveling, and yeah.
I think still I would just want to go get pounded with hops.
Yeah.
And it's partially because I've been to Live Oak, and I've been to Jester King, and I've been to
Beer Garden.
CBGB's.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And they're all fantastic, but I want to try something.
We've got one more.
What would you say is Serge?
Oh, yeah, what is it, Serge? What does
Serge just showed me a
say?
picture of the Offspring. Mikkelhen.
Yeah,
He's at San Diego.
Yeah. Someone came in today wearing a Mikkelhen hat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Woman.
We got a couple
nice
people coming
hat.
in the tap room wearing a Mikkelhen hat.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Must be the thing to do.
Same beers. I guess we're making basically the same beers.
Either Denver, Colorado, or Seattle, Washington.
So these are equally pitted, I think. And
Why so?
I've been unfortunately underwhelmed by both, beer-wise.
Yeah, I think those are very fair. I'm not the biggest fan of Denver.
I've had good beers and things.
Yeah.
But the you think of like the way they're presented is one of these like maybe not Seattle so much, but Denver is like this place where you go and it's like
there's no more falling rock either.
It's like the best place to go for beer. It's amazing. And then you go and maybe this is because I live in Chicago, I'm like all these things are like very spread out. Mm-hmm. Maybe I didn't do it right, but
well, think about it.
I was underwhelmed by a lot of the stuff.
There's Hogshead and Bierstadt.
And Cohesion. I went to all three of those. They were fun. They were great. I don't know. It wasn't. I'm gonna feel like
I just don't
asshole
like
now, but
the
my
city
mind wasn't
itself.
blown
I
the
just
way
I
that
just don't
wanted
like
it to
the
be.
city itself as much. But Seattle, I like the scene more.
Yeah,
There.
I've spent
And
more
Fremont.
time.
I think Fremont
Fremont is so good.
is so good.
So good.
And
And
it's, yeah.
I've spent more time in Seattle, but I've also stumbled into
I haven't.
to breweries in Seattle and been like, wow, this is really good. There's one called Red Envelope. I don't even know if it's still open, but it was close to Rubens.
Kincaid.
Yeah, Rubens Kincaid. And I remember walking in there with a friend with no expectations. And it was incredible. And I'm sure that experience happens often in Denver. I didn't have it because it was very focused and very
Okay.
like, let's go to these places. And they were good, but
So let me do this
if
now.
it's going to beer bars,
Let's do this U.S. So you said Seattle, right? Was that your answer?
I think that's a good question. I think I'd still go to Seattle to try to discover more of it.
So you'd rather go to Seattle?
No, go to Denver to discover more of it. I don't know if there's any good, like what the beer bars are like.
Where would you
in
rather
Seattle.
spend a weekend? Okay. So
Yeah, probably
you're Denver. Okay.
Yeah, Denver to and with someone telling me like, no, you should have gone here, here, and here, or like.
So you go Denver over Seattle. Okay.
I think
I would
so.
go Seattle.
If it was just for the beer experiences, yeah.
Oh yeah, maybe. I
Yeah.
don't know, man.
But if
I
it was
just
for
don't-
like the vibe, Seattle's an interesting, unique place that I really enjoy.
yeah, it's a little lacking on the beer side, though. Perhaps I don't know. Maybe.
There'd be good breweries out there.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe I was wrong.
Fremont
Maybe it should be
is a
Denver.
little
I'm
large.
switching. I'll go Denver.
And we're seeing Fremont
yeah,
from Surge.
Fremont. I mean, Fremont
Have
is.
you been there, Surge?
I'd rather go to
Yeah.
Fremont than any other brewery at either of those cities. I will say that.
I had a friend who moved there in probably like 2013, maybe 2015, and lived in Fremont. And I was like walking around one day while he was working, and like I didn't even know about Fremont.
Yeah.
And I walked in, and it was like they were releasing like this like Red Star or something. It was one of their like stouts. And I had their beers. And I'm like, this place is incredible. This is your neighborhood
Yeah,
brewery?
right.
And then like later on, I figured out, I'm like, oh no,
Oh.
this is like the
It's like,
real like.
my friend lives in Munster, Indiana.
Right,
What is
yeah,
this?
yeah.
Cenotaph?
Oh, why are these growlers half?
Yeah. Okay. So now let's do a little bit of this, and you got to go a little bit. You got to go rapid fire a little bit, maybe rapid-ish
Yeah, sorry,
fire.
sorry.
No, rapid-ish fire.
Rapid-ish.
So you said Denver versus Seattle. Okay, Denver or San Diego.
San Diego.
All right, San Diego, or you said Portland, right?
And these are.
You
Yeah,
said
I said
Portland.
Portland.
Okay, so
Just
San
for the
Diego
beer
or Portland?
experiences, right? Just for the beer
Yeah.
experiences, San Diego.
All right. So now you're San Diego overall. Now, Brussels or Prague?
Brussels.
All right. Brussels or San Diego?
Ooh, I can't. San Diego, but it's because
Yeah.
I've never been there.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, but
That's fine. And there's plenty of breweries and stuff to go around there. I mean, you could easily fill a weekend. All right. So
All right,
San
so
Diego.
You said.
I said Munich. Or I said, sorry,
So
I
it's
said
the-
Denver and San Diego.
So Denver and San Diego. Then
San Diego.
You're San Diego.
And I said, did I say?
You said Portland.
Portland or
Portland or
San
San
Diego?
Diego?
San Diego.
Okay. San Diego or
London?
Munich.
Or Munich.
Yeah.
San Diego.
Okay. San Diego or London.
Ooh, boy. Yikes. Oh, my goodness.
God and the devil are raging inside
Lon-
me right now.
London.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, just ripping casks with Derek Prentice in London.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I'm not. Like,
I
when
mean-
I go there, I'm not gonna be the ripping casts with Derek Prentice.
I don't know, but in my mind I am.
Yeah. Right.
You know,
yeah, yeah.
I probably am not either, but like,
I'm gonna be on my honeymoon. I'm not gonna be like, hey, let's meet up with Pete Brown. She's like, who? I'm like, oh, it's an old friend of mine.
right. She would love Derek though, because
She
Derek's
would.
the
Derek's
man.
amazing.
So, yeah.
She would love Pete too. Pete's also.
So I think
awesome.
London's my number one. San Diego's my number two. Okay. Also, curious to hear some takes. Also, Chris, I sent a little care package with some beers to the beer table. We got them, Zach. Thank you very much. They were very much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you so
Very
much.
nice. Yes. So he says he hopes to stop in someday because he has family in Wisconsin. So he says he's from Madison. We just had the Great Taste. I missed it. I was bummed. I had to coach my stupid daughter's volleyball team.
She couldn't come up to the Great Taste with you?
She has in the past.
Yeah. That's true.
So that was awesome. So thank you, Zach from Cellar West. Awesome. And let's see. Do we have any others that I wanted to? Okay, this is one that we passed on last time just because it was a little deep. Do we have time? We have time for one? Okay. Serge is saying we got time for one. Okay, this is from Eddie. This one's a little deeper.
All right.
Okay. So, hello. I just listened to the episode with Rubio and Andrew Tater, and you all discussed what Yingling will be like coming to the Chicago market. There seemed to be some mild excitement from Chris and Mike, and that you'd possibly reach for Yingling when it's around. It made me curious, either of your stance on purchasing beers from breweries with bad either of your stances on purchasing beers from breweries with bad business practices. As an example, Yingling owners endorse Trump. I would not quit doing anything because someone's thoughts on who should be president. But Donald Trump is terrible, and he goes into why Trump is a bigot and anti-LGBTQ. So that gives some merit to discuss and debate whether or not to support them. Besides Yingling, do you personally feel compelled to not support a brewery based on actions you morally oppose? Do you feel as a community there's a line where a brewery should be canceled as a whole? So I guess that's really the two things is like, generally speaking, do you personally feel compelled to not support a brewery based on actions you morally oppose? Do you feel as a community there's a line where a brewery should be canceled as a whole? Thank you, Eddie. Thanks, guys. Eddie. Thanks, Eddie. Good question.
That's a good question. So there's three questions in there, kind of. The way that breaks out to me is like if you're putting Yingling up against Budweiser, Miller, and
well, I was
all
saying,
that.
he was saying, so, yeah. I'm curious of your stances on purchasing beers from breweries with bad business practices, but I think the question is, he said that how he felt about Yingling, but he said, besides Yingling, do you personally feel compelled to not support a brewery based on actions you morally oppose? Do you feel as a community there's a line where a brewery should be canceled as a whole? It's a tough question. Like, canceled as a whole is tough.
I think canceled as a whole
is tough.
Well, it depends on what you mean by canceled. Like, should they legally not be allowed to operate as a business? I don't think. No.
Or like there collective.
There shouldn't be a morality.
I think of canceled as like a collective effort to divert sales away from them.
Sure.
That's what I would think. Like, so you're like, it's a like conscious choice, and it's a kind of vocal choice, right? And it's like, and you kind of like, there's a little bit more of a, I don't want to say like evangelizing, but you're what's it called? Like you're like promoting the fact, or trying to spreading and yeah, trying to convince others to not do it as well. If somebody's canceled, I guess maybe I don't know.
I'm not someone who tends to do that type of action.
Maybe that's
I'll make personal
too
choices.
Much. Canceled also has this element of like, yeah. Anyway,
there are so to take those the simplest to the more complex instead of the most complex to the simplest. There are certainly breweries from whom I choose to not buy beer
Yeah.
because of how they behave and what I know about them. So, yeah, absolutely. There's choices that I make as an individual consumer because of those types of things. And as far as the Yingling one goes, I don't think there's like a good, like that kind of no ethical consumption under capitalism thing. If you're buying macro beer of some kind, which that is, all of those places are bad as far as this benchmark is concerned. Like, do you think that Budweiser doesn't donate to conservative things that you don't agree with, or have supported politicians you don't believe in,
or have people on their board or the U.S. board who do the same, and stuff like that? Yeah.
So if you're gonna buy any of those beers, I don't think there's like a way to feel clean about it, and this becomes like more of a devil you know kind of thing, where like we know that the Yingling guy directly supports Trump as an individual,
Right.
So if you're going to buy any of those macro beers, you're not getting out of the idea that you're supporting something that your ideology may not align with. Also, you may also like Trump. I don't know. But and then, are there breweries that should be canceled because of their behavior? Probably. I tend to not, I tend to not be a person at the front lines of those things. But there are unforgivable actions, I think, that you shouldn't patronize a business if they behave in certain ways.
You're right. If the business behaves in certain ways, then yeah.
The business, certainly, and there's like, especially when you're like, the more localized you get, the more, I don't know, probably shouldn't be like this but the more it's easy to be like, well, that person did this thing to this person I know, so no one should go there anymore.
Right.
And
there's some of that in Chicago for sure.
Absolutely.
I'm sure there's stuff in all markets.
Yeah.
I mean,
and
yeah,
this is a very difficult thing to parse at these different levels of certainty about what happened.
Yeah.
Impact.
There's
noble impact for individuals.
There's multiple things that have been done by people at breweries in Chicago that I know of that also have people that I think are good people and might even be friendly with also at that brewery.
Right.
So, like
someone at that brewery did something, and then there's people whose livelihoods come from that brewery.
Yeah.
And so there's like, what is the nuclear? What's the George Bush one? Nuclear.
Nuclear.
Yeah. What is the nuclear option?
I guess that person could always get another job, or I don't know. Who knows?
Right.
I don't have an answer.
I don't either.
I don't have an answer.
I think this is one of those things you have to make choices for yourself.
Yeah. And that's the best way to do it as well, because if you make these hard and fast rules, it's a slippery slope, and you're going to be having to kind of like judge everyone's morality. Like, okay, well, what's good enough? What's bad enough, and what's good enough? Obviously, the extremes are easy, but like, okay, what just talking about like on the fringe, like what if it's a really big company that has like a really bad person at it?
Right.
Maybe that's the Yingling.
Well, that's like the Yingling.
Yeah,
version,
yeah.
Right? There's like, if you buy macro beer from anyone, there are really bad people at all those companies. Just the law of large numbers says so, right?
Sure.
So, and they're probably at the top of it. Like,
right.
You don't get to the top of that pile by being like a person who is understanding of other people's feelings, emotions, and consent, right?
Right.
So, I don't know.
Yeah. So I think it's a very hard question. I don't know if it's easily answerable, and for people who are more on the side of yes, you have to like stand by your convictions and stuff like that. That's okay, but I think that's also really difficult to do.
I would also say, like, you should absolutely stand by your convictions and behave how you want to behave as an individual consumer, but we're two dummies. Like, we're not people that you should be asking, like, here's what you should do morally about how you feel about this,
Right.
like, this thing in craft beer. I don't know, we certainly have our feelings, and we behave in ways that exist, that are based on what we want to support in the world. But also, like, I don't know. It's up to you ultimately to
I think,
decide.
I think for me, what I do is I support the breweries that I really like. That's what
Right.
I do. And, I guess there's different levels of support.
Right.
But I try to champion the ones that I really like.
Right. And then not engage with the ones that we really don't.
Yeah. Just, not engage with them. And then in the middle, there's ones that we treat kind of like in varying degrees of things. So that's what I'd have to say. So sorry if that wasn't a better answer, but it was a very hard,
It's a really tough question.
a very tough question. Yeah, we were going to get to it last week, and I was like, I don't think we're ready for this one. Eddie kind of threw us a curveball there. Not really a curveball, but just a tough knuckleball.
Sure.
Very hard to hit.
Knuckleball.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something you wrestle with all the time, right? You want to buy things, especially at this level of like locality and stuff. You want to buy things from people you believe in and trust, and behave in a way that you think the world should go. And so, also that information isn't always available. Like I don't know. I'm just rambling now, but
Yeah. No need to go on. I think people understand that you are a bigot.
Jesus, what a one! This will come out after the tap room opens, right?
Yeah. I'm going to play it. Day of.
Yeah, very much a bigot. Hate people.
Yeah. For superficial reasons. Don't forget that part.
Yeah, right.
Well, here we are. We've got another episode in the can. Do we know when we're going to be doing the charity Insider for a Day episode? Has
Not
that been
yet.
figured
Soon,
out?
but we haven't figured it out yet.
Okay. We're going to be doing that soon. We got a Jeopardy coming up.
Nice.
We got a few other things as well that I won't mention because they may be, I don't know what they are yet.
Yeah. Possibly. Who knows?
Yes. But good show. Don't remember, let us know if there's any episodes that you really liked. This one doesn't count because it's already past the deadline. But anything that was last June 1st through the end of July this year. You don't need to come up with 3. Just if there's one you really loved, Smoking the Bandit, whatever it was. Let us know. We genuinely would be very interested to hear. Anything you want to say, Mike, about your new opening and cancellation as soon as I play this episode back?
No. If this comes out before the 17th, come and hang out.
I think
If
there's a
not,
good chance.
we're still open, hopefully. So
Yeah.
you can still come and hang out. I'll probably be there. Let me know if you listen to the podcast, too. I'd love to talk to you about it.
Cool. All right, everyone. We will see you next week. So long.
Remember this is what we wanted. Remember this is what we said. To never be heard or seen from again. Remember this is what we wanted. Remember this is what we said. To never be heard or seen from again. Remember this is what we wanted. Remember this is what we said. To never be heard